still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true.
And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all believe. And it feels alright where the worlds collide. Manipulation stands to make us red.
What time is that coming over you? You wish it upon a star. You wish it on a star. You are, you are, you are. You fight back, it's an all-out attack. It feels like I've been taken on the world's machine. Because I want it more than anyone can dream. You look back and it's all in the past. You tell me how you live by all the things you do. Well, you can be yourself, but maybe I'm not you.
And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters. It is the Joe Allon Show. It is a pre-recorded show, looking ahead to Newcastle's game against Crystal Palace, looking back at the Manchester United game and looking a bit further ahead, Aston Villa. Good evening, Joe.
Evening, Steve. Yes, nice to see you.
Good to see you too, mate. And
yes,
it has. Yeah, a week off last week, just the way things fell with various commitments. But you're back again with a vengeance. And let's look back at that Man United game first. What a result that was for Newcastle. That's 5 out of 6. 5 out of the last 6 games, Joe, we've beaten Manchester United. We're going to finish comfortably above them again this season. I remember days where we couldn't beat them. It wasn't so long ago either, but comprehensive performance, 4-1, and sent the Geordies home happy this weekend.
Bashed them up, Steve. From the first minute, we'll bash them up. That's brilliant from the start. From the all 11 players on the pitch, outstanding for me. Best performance of the season for me. I thought we were brilliant. I really did. And Man United, obviously, they always had the reputation, and they've been a stumbling block for numerous occasions that we've played them. But the fact was that the attitude straight away from the back, pressing, the midfield, magnificent. And Isaac, there's 4 goals scored. He's not got one. The only thing I can say is I remember being in a game for Hartlepool and we won 4-1 and I made 3. And I've never been so off in my life because I'm not being funny, to come off the pitch and having scored 4 as a goal scorer. It's that selfishness that you've got as a goal scorer, and you have to have as a goal scorer because you're a different breed of a player. When you're playing up front, your Alexander Isak is a superb example of a brilliant centre forward, you know. And even though he didn't score, he showed great gumption, and what a ball for the goal for Tonali. I mean, and if somebody said as he didn't mean it, I mean, I'm not being funny. Some people, they just can't see you doing well, Steve, you know. And when we come off out of the blocks in that press, and even though we conceded a goal, I never thought straight away when them scored, I thought it'll not be long before we get another one. I was really comfortable with their score. It was a good goal, but we didn't let them play, you know. And Man United are in turmoil. And I couldn't care two hoots, to tell you the truth. Newcastle United, fabulous.
Yeah, I would agree, mate. I mean, Tonali's goal was sheer class. It was a great ball into Alexander Isak from Kieran Trippier, and he took one touch and flicked it over, and it was just, it was precision. It was a precision pass. And when you look back at the replays, no doubt in my mind that Alexander Isak meant it. And then just that arriving in the right place at the right time and the controlled finish from Tonali was sublime.
If you have a look just at the move beforehand that got there, when you think how was Sandro Tonali our most forward player?
Yeah,
he'd closed down, right, and he was in the centre forward position. So Isak already had him in his mindset. He knew he was there, but Tonali was. You think about it. How was Tonali get to be our most furthest player and hit that volley? I mean, if Glenn Hoddle had done it back in the day, it would have been on every television. If Lionel Messi had done it, it would have been all over the world. Simple as that. It was a fabulous goal. Unbelievable.
and if Lionel Blair had done it, they'd be wondering what he was doing playing football.
Well, exactly. I mean, to be honest, that's good. It's very good.
I learned from the master, Joe, yourself. Moving on to Harvey Barnes. There was, panic, I guess, through the fan base when Gordon was suspended, was going to miss the cup final. He's played 5 games now, Harvey Barnes. We're seeing the best of Harvey Barnes now, Joe.
Definitely. I mean, I'm not being funny. Harvey Barnes, I've said for a long, long time, that's his position. But what's made it so special for Harvey Barnes is the link-up play with Tino Livramento. I mean, Tino Livramento is a different player in this last 6 games, right? By playing further forward, by the defence pushing him on. You're seeing him going on overlaps, man. This is unbelievable. He's that quick as well. He can also do his job in defence. I think Livramento, I mean, I can give praise to every single player, Steve, because they deserve it. But for Harvey Barnes to have that link-up play with him, it's been outstanding. And I think, like I say, everybody thought, when Lewis Hall got injured, we're knackered because Lewis is a fabulous player and he's put his stamp on his position. You're looking at Lewis Hall to be a long-standing England international regular, even though you've got Skelly, who I think will play for England at a further forward position. But that's not our problem. That's England. We're on about, we're knackered because Lewis is injured. We haven't got the right back is playing left back. I mean, Livramento playing that position, he has not looked out of place one iota. He has been outstanding in his forward play. But when you have a look, some of the players that he's come up against, the Salahs in this world, people have got to remember he got kept quiet because people on the pitch, everybody is doing their job. If there's a little bit of criticism for Nick Pope, I'm not going to get onto him, but please, Nick, catch a ball, please. Come and take some crosses. You're a massive, massive unit. How many times he just punches the ball? It drives me insane. If he tries to take the ball and he's going to get a foul and he's going to get the free kick anyway. But I'm not being funny. The size of him, just work on that, work on taking the crosses like that. Because when you're taking crosses, it's not for the goalkeeper to look good, Steve. The taking of the crosses like Grobbelaar used to do in the past. Peter Beardsley tell you, Grobbelaar was taking the pressure off the whole team by just taking that cross, eliminating the threat of the striker. And by coming and taking the cross, he's also getting the side forward onto the front foot and playing against them. you know, and it's a massive thing for a goalkeeper to come. And you see the great goalkeepers that are playing at the minute, you know, and how they come for crosses. There is balls that need punching, I understand that. But at the same time, the punches sometimes are just a slap. You know, to come and take the ball, and then you're putting the onus on it, and then you're turning your defence into attack, and you're getting the ball rolling, and you're putting them under pressure because they're wanting to play in attacking situations. When the goalkeeper eliminates that, he's also turning them. So they've gone their back foot, they're running back pedaling, you know, and just a little bit for Nick Pope on that. But he's been outstanding as well, you know, what he's had to do. So we're giving him the benefit of the doubt on that. He's the goalkeeper, and that's it. It's as simple as that at the minute, and that's the way we're rolling. But every player, like what you mentioned, Harvey Barnes, so we'll come back to him. Anthony Gordon, there has to be a place in the side for Anthony Gordon. There's got to be a place in the team for Anthony Gordon. He's a fantastic player. But the way Harvey Barnes is playing on that left-hand side with Livramento, and when Joe Linton's joining in and helping him out because he's doing his unselfish work, as Tonali is, and Bruno's coming into it. And Bruno, man, we've got to give Bruno and Tonali, I mean, these players are players that we have to keep at Newcastle United for a long, long time. The wages are in our favour. Tonali hasn't played for a year. We know that. And that's finished. That's done. Get Tonali on a long-term contract. Because when you've got players like that, they are irreplaceable. And we'll say Joe Linton, yeah, he's getting a little bit older. But you know what? He's playing for his place. And because he's playing for his place, he's earning his place. And he deserves to be in the team. You know, so it's not my headache for the pick this side, but you know, when players are playing well and doing to the high standard that they are, you kind of disappoint them by taking them out the side, you know. And the team is just going from stronger and stronger and taking every game as it comes, and that's the way it's got to be.
Yeah, Bruno Guimaraes, again, you know, led by example and managed to get a goal as well to boot. He's, you know, it's been a hell of a season for Bruno. When you think about it at the start of the season, there was lots of question marks over whether he could, you know, when he could do it, you know, whether he could do the job. But he's come up trumps, hasn't he, Joe? He really has.
Well, look at his passion, man, Steve. You just can't not love that bloke, you know. It's absolutely man love, totally for Bruno. He loves the supporters. I mean, if I was a manager bringing a player to this club, we know in the past, Newcastle United, the furthest team north, who wants to play for them or by the northeast? Absolute rubbish. We're honestly city of culture. We've got a cosmopolitan city. We are, right? I'm not being funny, turning people's heads. People are coming to visit Newcastle, but when players come, show them a little video on Bruno and his passion and what his connection with the supporters, man. It just bounces off. It's fantastic to see stuff like that. And that's what it's all about. It's engaging with the fans. He can understand that the fans pay thousands of pounds during the season to watch their club. And when they're doing success, they don't want to be leaving the pitch. It's great to see, man. It's absolutely brilliant. And obviously, back in the day when we've had fantastic players like Gascoigne, Beardsley, Waddle, allowed to leave the club. This is the thing. These could be Gascoigne, Beardsleys and Waddles, you know. We've got to keep these players as the backbone of the side. It's imperative that it happens because we're going into this country now and we can beat, Steve, anybody in this country. That's a fact. It's about how we start. It's about how we take the game. It's not about other people. It's not thinking about the Man United stats, which is great to see all them stats. We've got the monkey off the bat for the cup. People are complaining that we're going on about the cup. Guess what? I'll be saying it tomorrow, and I'll be saying it the day after tomorrow, and the day after that. And they can be sick as much as they want because you know what? Newcastle United deserve to relish in winning that trophy because we've heard an absolute load of holics for the last 50 years regarding the cup and then the 70 years about a domestic cup, and all of a sudden, you know what I mean, we'll be getting like Sunderland. I mean, it was well wanted that they got broken into, and they said that, you know, the bloke turned around to the police and just, was there any cup stolen? The geezer had to say they didn't get into Candine.
Hey!
Allon won.
I love it. Dan Burn as well, outstanding at the weekend. I mean, his season has just got better and better and better. But got to give him a special mention because he was superb, wasn't he?
Certainly, Steve and Shaw. Right, I'm going to say this. He's had some criticism this season, Fabian Shaw. But you know what? We're playing Crystal Palace tomorrow. They've got a centre half.
Tonight, because this is a pre-recorded show on Tuesday.
Oh, sorry. They're playing them tonight, aye. And you've got to think, right, as two centre halves, Gale be in their side. Where did we go for him? For 70 million was said that we'd put on the table for him. I don't know. You might know better than me. The fact is, my two centre halves, right, Dan Burn, Fabian Shaw, you sure why we didn't need him? We didn't need that Crystal Palace lad. We didn't need to pay 70 million and break the bank for him on whatever rules there was and to be engaged. But show him tomorrow night, show their chairman who turned the money down, right, and who's saying that he's going to be this England international, talking about him as if he's going to be the next Bobby Moore. I'm having Dan Burn and Fabian Shaw every single day of the week on the form that they've showed of late, but also throughout the season. You know, when you're counting on players like that, and Dan Burn, he's an England international. How great does that sound, man? Dan Burn from Blythe, England. Get in there, son. A goal in a cup final. It doesn't get any better for Dan Burn than this. Dan Burn is living the dream of every North East lad, every supporter of Newcastle United that wanted to pull the black and white shirt on the back. Dan Burn is living the dream.
Yeah, certainly is. Certainly is. Got to give special mention as well to Jason Tyndall for the job that he did. Him and his coaching staff. We've got the likes of Jonesy and Weatherstone in the background as well, who've all played their part this week. Because obviously we're hit with the news that Eddie Howe had been hospitalised. The club obviously then announced that it was pneumonia. Eddie gave us a message as well from his hospital bed and paid tribute to the NHS. But it was very much business as usual, wasn't it, with Jason Tyndall on the sidelines?
Definitely. I mean, our champion in the NHS have been absolutely fantastic. I mean, they get a load of stick. And for Eddie to say that just raises the profile and raises awareness, of the great job that these people do, and it's got to be said sometimes, pay rises and things like that they deserve. But the NHS, yes, every single day. Jason Tyndall, he's inspired me to have a little bit of sun. I mean, nobody's mentioned it, but I'm just off-white now as opposed to being bright white. So Jason Tyndall has done the professional thing. Every interview that he's done, he's been absolutely tremendous, and it's commendable that the staff have raised the game when Eddie hasn't been there, because Eddie Howe's a miss. Of course he's a miss. Listen, Steve, people get unwell, right? They're human. Without Eddie, we had to cope. We did what we had to do professionally. It's being done that way. But yes, we want Eddie back as soon as possible. But the most important thing, Eddie in good, sound health. That's what we want. That's what we need. And the lads have stepped up to the mic and they've produced. And I think not only being very, very, they were outstanding in interviews when they've been spoken to, the way they've conducted themselves about the club, but they've done it in Eddie's style. They've kept the ball rolling. They've done things the way Eddie would do it. And that's it's paramount to the success of the football club, that if something happens, there's somebody there to step in who's trusted and also trusted and loved by the fans. So, yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah, certainly do. Pre-match, Joe, wore flags again with a wonderful display. 3 sides of the ground, 2 surfer flags at the Gallagher end and the Leazes end, and then across in the East Stand. Those were asked to get in 10 minutes early and hold up their flags, which made a wonderful display of Keegan. I guess the only criticism I would have had, I would love it if that had. I'd love it if we beat them on one of the flags. Would it be Manchester United? But maybe that was unplanned when this display was originally going to go ahead. But a wonderful display nonetheless for one of our biggest legends at Newcastle.
Well, I mean, if anybody wasn't stirred by that, I mean, I cried, you know, and I nearly went again there. But you know, the work that they do is it's fabulous. You know, it's like outstanding. The thought behind it, the effort that they put in, but a great round of applause as well to the supporters, because the supporters have got to join in and participate by getting involved with the flag. But how they come up with these ideas, they outdo the last one every single time. And the next one, I just, you know, that tribute in itself, it was just emotional, you know, and they deserve recognition. I don't know if they can get an award for something, but they'll definitely get the Nuff Matters award for being the best flags in the country. I tell you, war flags rule.
Yeah, definitely do. They did get awarded a trophy at the recent Sport Newcastle dinner, of course, which was fantastic. But yeah, the lads and lasses do a great job, and certainly helps with the atmosphere at St James's Park.
I was at the loo when that was awarded at the awards, if you remember. So I'm sorry, War Flags, but I was there sober as a judge, but I went to the loo. So well done for the award.
One other observer at St James's Park at the weekend was England manager Thomas Tuchel. He's got to be looking at Jacob Murphy as a potential, hasn't he, Joe, with the form he's in?
Well, you look at Jacob, and he's up there with stats. I mean, for scoring goals from his position, creating goals, he's up there. He's on merit. People, you know, sometimes they raise the eyebrows, and in every team, Steve, at times you're going to get, you know, a scapegoat. I think it's been undeserved criticism at times for Jacob Murphy. I look at the way he conducts himself. He's a very, very good professional footballer. His attitude's superb. I mean, where I haven't talked about it, but when he had to run in for Fabian Schär's shot against Leicester, which was unique, Jacob Murphy, I thought his explanation of the goal, when he said he had 13 touches before he got it under control to get in the net, what he doesn't say is the 150 yards that he ran from the halfway line and was the only player to react out of both sides. And the goalkeeper didn't know where he was. And Jacob Murphy's goal there just got, I think, overshadowed a little bit by the amount of the performance that we had, because Leicester were, you know, they couldn't keep the ball, Leicester, as you know, the possession stopped at midfield. And that was because the defence was pushing up, pressing on the midfield, on their midfield. And we were taking the ball off and getting overplay at times because we had the ball that much. But Jacob Murphy, another thing what he done and what he does great, there's a Pomo position that was invented by Graham Taylor a long time ago. It's about 5 yards from the post to 5 yards towards the corner flag. That is called the Pomo position because Graham Taylor and the FA reckoned it was the position of maximum opportunity. If you have a look at some of the goals that we've scored lately, and Jacob Murphy's done it again on Saturday, that position of maximum opportunity, his goal against what everybody thought was a tap-in, you know, against Leicester, and it was a fabulous finish, and in exactly the same position. And when he's crossed it back for Bruno to score, was Bruno one that he scored when Jacob Murphy crossed it back? Yeah. That could have quite easily, for a very lot of players, been smashed across the box. Instead, he thought about it. He was very, very observant of the fact that Bruno was there, laid it on a plate, you know, and it's getting to them positions. Livramento on the overlap against Leicester. Who's on the other side? That's that place what we're on about. Jacob Murphy coming in. But not only that, what Jacob Murphy's got in the bag, and I think doesn't get appreciated, is his work rate. And at times, Steve, he's asked to play pretty much as a wing back. You know, at times he does a lot of defending when we've got opposition players that, you know, are quite their star players, if you like. And Jacob Murphy does a lot of the dog work that Sandro does that gets overlooked. You know, that this little fella in the middle of the park there, he's running the show. He's holding the strings, you know, and he's mopping everything up. And at the same time, he's got that relationship with Bruno where He gets into the box for the end of Isaac's wonderful ball, and Bruno sits, and then the other time he's sitting when he's getting on the end of the ball for Jacob Murphy, and that's working it out. I think Lee Clark said it a long time ago. You know, how we're going to play, how these players going to play together, what's going to happen. And Lee Clark, unbelievable, because I didn't think it. If anybody did, they got more up there than what I have. He said it's down to the players to sort it out amongst themselves. It's up to them as professionals to work it out. What one comes, what one goes, stay in here, what there, mark this, mark that. You know, and Lee Clark pointed that out. And as a pair, they've worked out how to play together.
Yeah, certainly have. It's never too early to talk about transfers on NUFC Matter, because that's what we'll be talking about throughout the summer. But we rarely speculate. We only give you things which are concrete. Cordero is the name that everyone is talking about. Antonio Cordero. He's currently a player for Spanish side Malaga, and news broke on several media outlets, including Fabrizio Romano on Twitter on Tuesday, that the 18-year-old right winger, who's out of contract at the end of this season, is potentially on his way to Newcastle. The Spanish youth international debuted for Malaga during 23-24 season when they gained promotion from the third tier, and he's featured regularly in the Segunda division this time round, scoring 5 goals. So he's 18 years of age, Joe. He's a right winger, much sought after by the likes of Barcelona and Real Madrid. But it looks 99.9% sure that he is going to be at St James's Park next season. Newcastle chasing the youth still, bringing in big talent from across Europe.
Yeah, well, they're not producing enough in the recruitment, and you know, at the youth level and what have you, there's not enough coming through. You know, there's not enough banging on the door. You know, your Mileys and you know, frustration at him not getting a game. But he's not getting a game because you know there's better players than him at the minute. You know, and he's been stopped in his tracks a little bit, because I still think he will be a star. By the way, Lewis Miley. But you're buying potential, Steve. You're buying potential, and this kid is a really good player. By all accounts, I've just seen clips. I've never watched him play. But when you look at, say, for instance, the thought behind it, and I wouldn't know who was pulling the strings at the time, but we paid 50 million for 2 fullbacks from Chelsea who were just young players, you know, and you look at them now, and I would think Livramento and Lewis Hall are worth a shed lot more than 50 million as a pair. I'll tell you, so that was a fantastic bit of business, and their potential's just coming through, and they haven't even arisen to the heights that they can get. So this lad, again, at the age, a lovely age, potentially to develop the player and get him in to be a superstar. And at Newcastle United, I think it's a wonderful thing when you're getting a player he's not just a 14 or 15-year-old that you're buying. You know, you're buying something that's really close to the finished article, because at that age you have to be close to the finished article, otherwise you're out. You know, you didn't get many chances, and at this level, and especially the way football clubs are run now. I mean, I'm not harping back, but back in the day there was one sub when I played. And you can have as many as you want, and you on the bench now, I don't know. Because half the time you don't know half the names when I look at every single Premier League team. I look at the substitutes. I look who's the coach, just in case he's been sacked before the game, because they come and go, as you say. But the other thing is the potential that you buy in there. And then when you're mixing it with that blend of the youth and the experience, you know, it augurs well for the football club. And I think that's brilliant, you know. And I didn't think I answered the Tuchel question. For him, it's a chance for Dan Burn to say, listen, you might have played as the one game against these, but at the same time, I'm still here. Have a look at how Gay's playing and see what I'm doing. And all Dan Burn can do is do his best and do what he's doing. But Tuchel's not there just to watch one player. You know, he's there to look at everything, because I hate to say it, but I'm not saying because I hate him, because I don't hate him. I think he's a very good manager. I'm not bothered that he's German, you know. It's a case of he's turned it round the way my opinion, and I think other people's opinions of how he's doing the England job, you know, and the things he's doing and the things he's saying. I've loved his interviews. He's forthright. You know, he's not beating about the bush. You know, if he thinks Rashford's good enough, he's putting him in. You know, so he's there and he's making noises that we probably haven't heard from a national team manager. So, you know, that door is open for every English player that's on the football pitch. And Tino Livramento will have done himself no harm. Jacob Murphy will have done himself no harm. And Big Dan, you know, he's played in the last two performances. Dan Burn played in the first one. So, you know, he's still there in thoughts. And this is a big game tomorrow, you know, against Palace. And this is the tonight, sorry, Jesus. That's the 24-hour thing. I've been in Australia, you know. And honestly, I was still big down under as well. But But the difference is Tuchel, he's got an open book, and what I'm saying here is he can take everything in. You know, it's both sets of players that he's looking at, and he's getting off his backside and coming to Newcastle United, which we didn't see that very many times. I think the last time I saw it live, especially when Bobby Robson come to watch Kevin Keegan play, and that was coming to the end of Kevin Keegan's career, as we know, and there was, you know, chances of appearances and whatever, and World Cups and whatever. But Bobby Robson was a visit to St James's Park on a regular basis, and I hope Thomas Tuchel carries it on and still keeps coming, you know, because we're a team that everybody's looking at and taking notice of. And like I said before, people want to live in Newcastle. Nobby Solano come from Peru. Nobby Solano's got a family in Newcastle. Nobby Solano will never leave Newcastle as his base. He's obviously managing Peru, but he never leave Newcastle because he loves Newcastle. And when people come to Newcastle and they understand the people, they understand what we're town people, but the city of Newcastle. We're a city. You know, we're fantastic. We've got Northumberland. You know, we've got the seaside 8 mile that way. We've got the countryside 8 mile that way. We've got the Angel of the North and Gated, where it's blisteringly hot the day. But, you know, this is what's brilliant about being in the Northeast. And Newcastle United, you know, is a place where people want to be.
Can I ask you something, Joe? Completely left field. Obviously, the under-21s are the step down from the first team these days. Been on a great little run. 5-game unbeaten run came to an end this week. They lost to Manchester City away by 4-0. But there's been, you know, signs of life in that team, that things are going well in that level. They're going to be in like the playoff games towards the end of the season. I think they finished. I don't think the league position will be any higher than 9th this season, but still something to play for anyway before the end of the season. In your era, there was the reserve team. And, you know, the reserves obviously played in the Pontins League. You had the opportunity, you know, to bring players back who potentially were coming back from injury. So, for example, now, you know, the likes of Sven Botman, who's back training on grass, would have been able to play in a Pontins game against maybe, you know, Manchester United, let's say, just because we've played them. And, you know, there would be somebody there from Manchester United who was equally coming through. And those games tended to be played at St James's Park and in front of decent crowds at the time. You mentioned Nobby Solano. When Nobby signed and made his debut, there was, you know, best part of 7,000 people at the stadium to go and watch Nobby make his debut because he was the first Peruvian to pull on a black and white shirt for Newcastle. So I guess my question is, would it benefit going back to that? I mean, you know, especially in these days of PSR, where, you know, money generates success in lots of ways. Could you ever see a return to those days? Would you like to see a return to those days because it's more competitive, or do you think those days are long gone?
It's a brilliant question, Steve, and I think I've got a good answer for it. So I started in the Central League, and the Central League was before the Pontins League, and the Central League was the step before the first team. That reserve team was the step to get into the first team. So if you're playing well, whether you're young or whether you're old, sometimes it was a place where you got punished. First team players, Arthur Cox, wouldn't hesitate if somebody was playing poorly, he'd whack them in the reserves. But if somebody in the reserves was playing well, he'd promote them and stick them in the first team. and that was Arthur. But the other thing was, of having the reserve team, we had a youth team that was an under-19 youth team. So it was a Northern Intermediate League that we played in. Now, you could play in that league if you were 13 and you were good enough. I played in it when I was 14 years of age and scored goals in the Northern Intermediate League. But you're playing against 18 and 19-year-old players. You know, you're getting tough. You're under the Northumberland Senior Cup. A reserve team played. You're playing in the Northumberland Senior Cup, by the way, where you didn't, put it this way, high-pitched voices used to get well before Vinnie Jones thought about grabbing Gazza's family allowance. The Northern League used to do that. The lot in Northumberland, Jesus, my God, they should have done horror films on some of the centre-halves that I played against. And how many times I used to say, you realise that my dad's in the audience, by the way. He's in the crowd. He's got me two brothers with him. So didn't you come to me, like, and I'll tell you what, the grounding that you got playing against guys, playing against blokes. You know, when you get that step up, you're thinking as a player, right, I'm one step away from the first team now. So you're competitive as regarding back in the day. Again, the Central League was one sub. But you go from the youth team to the reserve team to the first team. And then it's simple, isn't it? It's not under 23s, under 21s, under the 18s, under this, under that. You know, you've got a structure where people can see. Like, I remember I was 15 and a half or whatever, and I played 15 minutes in a reserve game at St James's Park against Derby County, and Arthur Cox put us on, and I scored the winner 1-0. And the next day, I had to go into school. I said to Arthur Cox, the manager, because I scored in the reserves, does that mean can I play on Saturday in the first team? And he went, not yet, but it was a very good question. In a roundabout way, he told us off. But at the same time, he was saying, I loved your attitude. You know, I went to school the next day, and, you know, St James's, I was watching it. I used to get every single home game possible, because 9 times out of 10 we were playing in the junior team and under 19s, and we're at Benwell, so we could get to the game because it was always a 10 o'clock, 10:30 kickoff. So we'd be there at St James's Park watching the big team. You know, whatever age I was, I'd be there at St James's Park, and like standing next to the dugout, being that close to the pitch. You know, you can smell them. You know, you can smell the liniment and all of the, what you call it, what you used to rub on your short and curlies. You know, that used to make you run a bit faster. You know,
deep heat.
That's him. Didn't get accused though. Getting confused, sorry, about the deep heat and the Vaseline, because I remember a story about Kenny Wharton, and it was to do with chaffing. Put it this way, it wasn't the Vaseline that he was putting where the sun didn't shine. It was the deep heat. The kickoff had to get put back about 5 minutes, by the way. He had to go in a cold bath. But sorry, Kenny, for saying that one, but it did happen. Anyway, that thing, though, you know, I remember playing as a 16-year-old in the reserve team Central League, and you're travelling to play Liverpool at Anfield, you know, and in their team they've got like say Grobbelaars and Paul Walsh's, and you know, I'm playing against bloody Phil Thompson, who's coming to the end of his career, and like he's a legend. Do you know what I'm saying? Craig Johnson's running about, and like you got Sammy Lee, David Fairclough's playing up and still in the reserves, and I was thinking, Jesus, I mean, I've played a few times in the reserve, but David Fairclough must have played 5,000. And you know, I'm going there, and I'm scoring a winner at Anfield. We're winning 1-0, and you're thinking, right, this is good, because you know you're just one step away, even though you're 16 years of age, 17 years of age. You know, you're playing at Man United on a Saturday afternoon. We're travelling to Old Trafford on the coach. We're leaving in the morning. We're having a lovely pre-match meal, and then we're going to Old Trafford. You've got Jesper Olsen playing. They've got Peter Barnes playing. You know, I'm playing against Kevin Moran. Mark Hughes is playing. You know, these players are all coming through and what have you in their reserve team. And we're playing at Old Trafford on a Saturday afternoon. And I'm not even going to tell you about the hat-trick that I scored, but You know, you beat them at Old Trafford and you come off feeling 50 foot tall, like you've actually played at Old Trafford, you know? And that's got to be something for the players that's at the club as, you know, the carrot. You know, this is for the young ones that's under 19, right? This is your carrot. Get in the reserve team. When you're in the reserve team, this is your carrot. Get in there. The incentive, getting in that first team, you're one step away. Prove to me I'm the manager. The managers used to come every reserve game that we played back in the day. Arthur would always be there, Arthur Cox. Big Jack would be there. Willie was there all the time. You know, Colin Suggett, every time. You've got managers there, so you're known when you're impressing and you're known that he's in the stand watching. You've only got one person that you have to say, look, I'm impressing you. I'm going to change your mind. Today, I'm going to play Joe Allon instead of Peter Beardsley, at which the answer was, Joe, go forth and multiply.
Good stuff. Okay, let's look ahead to the match tonight against Crystal Palace. And it is a 7:30 kickoff at St James's. It is live on Sky Sports for those of you who can't get to St James's Park tonight. Eddie Howe, of course, still unavailable. The Magpies will be led by Jason Tindall and Graham Jones, with the duo standing in for the gaffer at Aston Villa on Saturday night as well. The team, well, Lewis Hall, Sven Botman and Jamal Lascelles remain unavailable, but Joe Willock is back in contention after his enforced absence due to concussion. And if Joe Linton avoids a booking against Palace tonight, the threat of an automatic 2-match ban for reaching 10 cautions in the Premier League would be lifted. Dan Burn, of course, has now escaped that punishment tightrope, which is great news. As for Crystal Palace, Eddie Nketiah and Mark Gahey will both be available for selection. They return from suspension. Oliver Glasner's side lost 5-2 at Manchester City on Saturday, which was their first Premier League away defeat since October, ending a run that included 6 wins and 4 draws. Darren England, well, this is his third Newcastle match of the season. He took charge of the 1-1 Premier League draw at Selhurst Park and the 3-0 Premier League home victory over Wolves. And VAR is Craig Pawson. If you're at the ground tonight, the food bank will be on the usual spot at Strawberry Place. Any cash donations tonight, as always, Jamie Rubin, our club director, will be matching those donations. So drop a few quid in if you can. So, Joe, first up, Palace tonight. What's your feelings about this game?
Yeah, well, straight away, when I mentioned before about Dan Burn and Fabian Schär, you know, you've got to put your stamp on it. And what they've got in their favour is Alexander Isak. And if he's on Bob against Gay, against whoever, he's unplayable when he's on. It's as simple as that. When he's got that bit between his teeth, there's nobody better than him. I don't care about what they say about other centre forwards. As at the way he plays the game, he's unplayable. And he could be doing a great favour for the centre halves. But not only that, you've got a team that's, what you say, 5 out of 6 wins we've had. You've won a cup. You've just battered, honestly, absolutely bashed up Manchester United. They're in all sorts of peril. Poor them. That's another team that can ask if you like sex and travel. But the difference about Crystal Palace is they can be a very good side. So, you know, you've got to win your individual battles. And what I've been seeing lately, is the individuals winning their battle against the person that they're playing against, you know, and they're stamping their authority very, very early by winning their battles. And you mentioned Big Joe and his bookings now. If he didn't get them bookings, he wouldn't be the same player. So you have to accept that he's going to be like that. But can you change him for doing that? You wouldn't want to, Steve, you know.
No.
But you have to give respect to Crystal Palace because on the day, they're a great side. And they'll always have a threat when they've got the lad up front, you know. Metrocentre, he's been like a fabulous goal scorer in an unfashionable football club. And I don't mind saying I don't like Crystal Palace at all. I really don't like them. I've never liked them. I've never liked Selhurst Park. I didn't like when Wimbledon were playing at Selhurst Park and Vinny was playing and I had to go. Well, I didn't have to go, but he used to drag us to watch him play because Chelsea play on a Tuesday night and Wimbledon play on a Wednesday night when they were ground sharing with Crystal Palace. And a horrible place to get to. And, oh, God, just Crystal Palace. And I always remember that sticks in my mind back in 1975 when Crystal Palace, like, they had a chance to beat Sunderland in the FA Cup and they didn't. And they missed the penalty and I was like, oh, man, I'm going to hate Crystal Palace forever. So that's why I didn't like Crystal Palace.
What's your prediction, Joe?
We'll win. We'll win. I don't think we'll score because I think we'll come out doing what we did against Man United. Goals-wise, I'm just going to say 2-0. And I'm going to have my man. I said he wouldn't get first goal last time I did my prediction. I was pretty much on the blob because he did score. And I'm going to say he'll score and he'll get the first one. And then we'll dominate the game. And then substitutions be made at the right time like they were done on Saturday against Man United because we didn't come off the gas at all. I thought the substitutions that were made were done at the right time with the right personnel. And I think the same thing will happen tomorrow, the way that, you know, there's players being rotated. I don't think he'll start with Anthony Gordon. I really don't. And I really hope if he does start that Harvey Barnes does not get eliminated from the starting because he does not deserve to be out of the team. So I'm going for 2-0, Steve, and the Magpie dream to keep marching on towards Champions League glory.
Yeah, I went for 2-1, so we'll wait to see what happens tonight. Of course, we don't have to wait much longer for our next game, 5:30 live on Sky Sports on Saturday, and 3,000 away tickets have been sold for that game. And Newcastle going in search of their third successive Premier League away victory, what would be their 9th in total so far this season. Big game this. Referee has been announced at the time of recording this show, Jared Gillette, which is his third Newcastle appointment of the season for the Australian referee. He took charge of the 1-1 home draw with Man City and the 4-3 win over Nottingham Forest at St James's Park. VAR is Michael Salisbury for this one. So interesting game this, Joe. I think as well, when I did the show with Sid on Tuesday, he seemed to have this kind of misconceived idea that we had a good record at Villa Park, but in recent seasons we haven't. Last year we won 3-1. Fabian Schär were 2 goals and an own goal for Moreno. But the previous 4 seasons before that, we've lost 3-0, and 3 games we've lost 2-0. So it hasn't really been a happy hunting ground. The 3 previous fixtures to that were all draws, 1-1 and 2 0-0 draws. You've got to go back to those Halicon days of Mike Ashley in 2012-13 and 2013-14 for Newcastle recording 2 2-1 wins with Ben Arthur and Gouffran and Cissé and Cabaye respectively scoring the goals. So it has been a bit of a banana skin down there, but we did win there last year. So tough game, but one would imagine as well that, you know, their mindset could be affected depending on what has happened in the Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an even game and be refereed very well, because the officials, obviously, Gillette is probably one of the best refs you can get.
Yay!
And he's razor sharp. But the thing about bogey teams and whatever, Villa Park has been an unhappy hunting ground, as you say. But the worst thing about it is Aston Villa at the minute. I'm watching them all the time. Aston Villa playing really, really well. You know, and I've heard people, pundits, very, very respected pundits, saying Aston Villa will win the Champions League, you know, and they've got a chance. They have got a chance. And Aston Villa are playing well, but we'll obviously get the Palace game out of the way and win that. But going to Villa, a different kettle of fish altogether, because we're both vying for the Champions League spots. It's going to be a tough game at Villa. You know, I mean, I'm always going to be on the side of Newcastle United as regarding predictions and whatever. But when you look at the fixtures and you look at tallying points and whatever, it'll be a good point to go to Villa to get a point, you know, because I think Aston Villa, form-wise, up to now, they're up there with us. So it's going to be a battle of the teams in form in the Premier League at the minute, because Villa are up there. They're rotating Watkins with Rashford, and they're playing people here, there, and everywhere. But when they're playing, the personnel that's coming in are doing a fantastic job, you know. And I like Aston Villa as a team. I really like Aston Villa as a side. I like the manager's a fantastic manager. And the way that he sets things out, the respect that he's got and the respect that he's given is superb. So I think it will be a very, very difficult battle, like you say, and not a happy hunting ground. I'd be happy with a point, to be fair, Steve. I don't know about you.
Yeah, 1-1's what I've gone for on that one, Joe.
Copycat.
Yes, good stuff. Great minds think alike. Absolute pleasure, Joe. Thanks for coming on as usual. Look forward to getting you back on again next week. And let's hope that the next time we speak, Newcastle United have got one foot firmly planted in the Champions League. I'm going to play out with the ads. Take care, my old son.
Wednesdays never get any better than this.
Big thanks to all our sponsors. Skips and Bins. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email, info@mrvickies.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel, UK Coach Holidays. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew, driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels, no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the technical side of things. And if you want to listen to us as a podcast, you can find us on Sport Social Podcast Network. We're also available on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you want to support the channel, then hit the subscribe button. We still do 7 shows a week. Hit the like button, which is the thumb underneath this video, and click share to your social media. You can also take out a monthly membership or an annual membership at nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. For the lifetime membership, you can pay £25 and get a pen, a beer mat, a fridge magnet, a badge and a keyring and your membership card, and entry into the monthly draw. Some events coming up: 27th of June 2025, the end of season party. Beresford, Howie and Watson will be at the Tyneside Irish Centre with Joe Allon in aid of North Tyneside Age UK. You can get your tickets for that one from nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk or from Voucher. No Covers takes place at the Clooney. That's on the 29th of June, midday till 3:45, and tickets are £10 from theclooney.com or newcastlelegends.com. Northern Horizon, a Blake 7 convention, takes place on the 9th of August, 10 till 4 at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Come and be some of the cast and crew in aid of Age UK North Tyneside Dementia. Tickets from nufcmatters.co.uk. An evening with Peter Beardsley and Chris Waddle takes place on Friday the 23rd of January 2026 at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. You can get tickets from the box office 0844 249 1000 or from tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk. And Bad Manners are back in the Northeast at the O2 City Hall, Friday the 30th of January 2026. Tickets from ticketmaster.co.uk.